Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be about a status build that I am planning on using for GM today, later on today. Pretty much I'm rushing this video out to help anyone that needs build ideas for today's GM. It's quite simple, straightforward, and I feel like most people don't actually notice how simple it is to actually make a build for Stasis. The nightfall today, the champions that you're gonna be seeing is Overload and Antibarrier, if I remember correctly. So in terms of weapon, just pick whichever one you want to rock as part of your team. For me, I'll be rocking Overload today, so I'll just get straight to the build, to be honest. So like I said, it's gonna be a status build. In terms of loadout, I'm pretty much using a bow for my Overload. I'm using my fusion rifle and my 1K to essentially delete anything that my fusion rifle cannot take care of. So starting with my status, the only thing you need to know about is the fact that I'm using Blink Watch. I assume everybody that is going to be using a Stasis Warlock will be doing the same thing. It's the simplest grenade build to use to make your life easier, to do crowd control, to help your team out and make your life 10 times easier. In terms of the fragments that I usually just use Whisper of Shards to essentially allow me to get my grenade back a lot faster. I use Whisper of Advance to essentially give me every form of buff in the game in terms of stability, aim assist, mobility, resistance, recovery when I freeze a target, which is something I'm going to be doing a lot of. I'm using my Whisper of Conduction mainly because I want my shards to come to me, so I don't really want to be running around the room. I want all my shards to come to me just by getting close enough for them to pretty much be attracted to my character. And Whisper of Durance to essentially keep my targets frozen as long as I possibly can. Those are the 4 fragments I pretty much always run, and everything else is the same. My healing rift, my jump, I don't think you can change your melee yet, but the grenade itself doesn't really matter. Anyway, apart from my loadout, the exotic I use is the Eye of Another World. The reason I use this compared to every other exotic that will buff my grenade is Eye of Another World is a passive exotic. I don't really have to do anything. I don't even need to build around it whatsoever. It will simply just buff all my abilities. All my grenade, my melee, my class abilities, and my super gets buffed by Eye of Another World without me doing anything whatsoever. So just think of it as an extra buff on top of my grenade buffs, pretty much. Apart from that, I am running both well mods and charge red light mods. Now, the reason why I do this is because I know there's loads of builds out there for Stasis that allow you to get a bunch of well mods, especially with the new, I remember there's a new mod that came out recently. If I can find it, I have it somewhere. It's a solo mod. This one, Bountiful Wells, which allows you to essentially create as much well as possible, which is a really good mod, and I do plan to actually do a build around this mod on a later date, but this mod is not really useful for what I'm doing today. Pretty much this build will allow anybody without any requirement of having a certain type of weapon to essentially do a status build without being forced to do anything extra on top of the build. So if you can have this mods, which are quite easy to find, and I feel like Eye of Another World is pretty exotic. It's pretty easy exotic to get. I'm sure it's still kind of RNG, but you should be able to get it quite easily. Anyway, starting with most important mods, your particle destruction and the construction. Sorry, pronunciation. Only one person on your team really needs to have this. I just never take it off since I always use fusion because it's the season of the fusion. But if someone else in your team has it, you can always swap it for different things like your strike mod to essentially allow you to do overload with both your status and your solo melee. So you can always change this out for the playstyle or for what your team needs. Obviously, the most obvious thing you should have is focusing lens. Focusing lens is a increased damage buff for someone that is using stasis and for your teammates. And if you're doing a warlock stasis build, it will be kind of dumb for you not to have it. You must have this. Now, like I said, I'm doing charge your light mods. So easiest charge your light mod is taking charge, so that I'll just pick up ops that my teams are making, that I am making, that everybody is making, and it's an easy way to become charge your light. I'm also running invitation. Oh my god, pronunciation tonight. Reducing grenade cooldown each time I pick up charge your light, so kind of self-explanatory. On top of that, I am using high energy fire. High energy fire pretty much takes one charge of light to give me bonus damage against the target I'm currently shooting. The great thing about high energy fire, everyone should know by now, it does not take away the charge with light till I kill a target. So if I pick up an orb and I start shooting a champion, for example, that charge with light does not get consumed till that champion is dead, which is bonus for me. Keynote, so that I won't ramble too much, high energy fire does stack with particle deconstruction. I have tested it, it does stack. So that means my fusion rifle, when I'm shooting a champion, will go up in damage. So main reason why I'm also using charge your light. In terms of my well mod, I am using this mod right here, which is the elemental shards, which essentially makes it so the shards that I create by simply just freezing my targets and them getting killed either by me or by my teammates essentially count as stasis well, which means I don't have to create a well with my melee or grenade, for example, because with this build my grenade is not really gonna get any kill because it's not that strong, and my melee, even though it will get some kill, it does not come up that often that I want to do a build around it. For example, a great idea would be if I was running a hunter build instead, I will focus more on melee since I can get that more often. On top of that, I'm using grenade kickstarter. It gives you a little bit of energy when you throw your turret out. So because your grenade energy will be completely depleted once you've thrown that turret, it gives you energy instantly. I will say it's roughly, I want to say 1/6 of your energy, of your grenade energy back. So it's not that huge, but it's free energy. And unless I am planning on running both anti-barrier and overload, there's not really anything else you should be running on your arm apart from that, to be honest. And obviously, to make use of the wells, quote unquote wells / shards that I'm picking up, I am running Font of Wisdom to essentially improve all my abilities again. So on top of Eye of Another Word, it essentially allows me to improve my grenade, melee, my rift, my super, simply just by getting my shards. So this build is quite simple. The idea is Eye of Another Word plus my picking up my shards / quote unquote wells, I get my ability back. On top of that, I'm also running a bow that does have oh my god, let's just demo, which pretty much allows me to get my grenade back as often as possible. On top of that, I'm running Charge with Light, which essentially allows me to do more damage to the targets that rush at us, especially the champion. The idea is to essentially try and kill the champion as quickly as possible and the final boss as quickly as possible. It's a simple build, simple to understand. Hopefully you guys can get your hand on all these mods. Pretty much every single mod I'm using especially I'll say the hardest one to find will probably be the elemental shards. Well, not to find. You simply have to go to the station that is available towards the season in the helm and simply just go pick it up. To be honest, like, unless you haven't done anything this season, it should be available to you already. Obviously, you do need a piece of gear that is Stasis affiliated for you to be able to actually pop it on, but it makes your life 10 times easier because you create shards easily, so you don't even have to do anything major. Same thing with my grenade Kickstarter. This means your arm has to be the one that's affiliated, like Stasis affiliated, so that you can actually pop it on, because I don't think it's available anywhere else. Nope, not available anywhere else. But it's a simple build to make. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I shall see you guys in the next one.
Why you mad? I got a bag, bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back. You know that I run it.